Welcome back to another video. As you may or may not know, May is Fibromyalgia Awareness Month. So this month I am making more videos about fibromyalgia, or videos more focused on fibromyalgia, especially targeted at people who don't have it. So family and friends and just whatever people that you know that might benefit from some more simplified information about the condition and some more like basics. I also really want to focus on things that people don't think about, so the less talked about issues with fibromyalgia and the symptoms that are more often disregarded or just not talked about. Today I thought I would run through all of the fibromyalgia myths that I have heard or seen, or and all of these things are myths, and some of them have some truth to them, some of them have no truth to them. And I just thought I would run down and explain why these are myths and what they are, and just kind of highlight the danger of spreading misinformation and myths about a condition that is already not taken very seriously, not really researched a lot, not really, doctors don't really, some of them don't believe that this is a real condition, so it's really harmful when we're already in a very precarious situation with this illness to keep spreading these myths as actual information when they're not. And it's really important that when we spread awareness that we're doing it in a responsible and serious way, and that we are respectful to the people who have the condition, and that we are being as truthful and as straightforward as we possibly can. Obviously there isn't that much information about the condition yet. There's a lot of things we don't know, so it's impossible to lay out all the facts because we don't have them. But the facts that we do have, it's important to lay them down correctly. That is the longest intro / disclaimer I have ever done, so let's get on to it. The first one, it's probably the most common that we all hear, and it's all in your head. There is this belief or idea or suspicion, call it what you want, that fibromyalgia is psychosomatic, that we think that we're ill and that then those symptoms come to light because we're thinking about it, and that it's all in our head and that we're all just making it up, and probably that we're a bunch of attention-seeking crazy people. I will say that when people say it's all in my head, that is where my brain is, and that is where the condition comes from. So yes, it is all in my head, but I don't think you have your brain anywhere else but your head. So, basically fibromyalgia is a neurological condition. All that we know so far is that basically our nervous system doesn't function properly and doesn't communicate properly with itself. Some things sometimes work, sometimes don't. And the confusing thing about the illness is that it's not like it never works and that it works always in the same way, even if it's wrong. Our brain sometimes works in a way and sometimes works in a different way, and it's always changing. Because for some reason that we don't know, the way that our nervous system, our central nervous system, and all of the nerves and all of the signals in our body, the way that they communicate is just not effective. It's just broken down. I like to explain it to people who don't know what it is, kind of like, the phone game where we were kids, we would sit in a circle and somebody would say a message to somebody else and they would pass down that message all the way to the end. And by the time the message got to the original person, it was completely different and it was nothing like what you had originally said. And that is kind of how our nervous system works. That's what's happening. So in a way, yes, it's all in our head, but it's also everywhere else in our body. So yes and no. Number two is that it's just a little pain. And this one is so annoying because it's just so dismissive of everything that we go through. If you know somebody with fibromyalgia, it's not just pain, and it's not just a little pain. We have a little pain, we have medium pain, we have medium to high pain, we have high pain, we have hell. We have to just use our minds, okay? It's not that complicated. So if it's a lack of the proper function of the nervous system, and we have nerves and nerve endings and parts of the nervous system everywhere in our body, everything that is connected to the nervous system will possibly malfunction, have problems. We have pain, obviously, that is the biggest thing. We have chronic widespread pain, but we also have memory loss, cognitive dysfunction. A lot of us have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. There's light sensitivity, there's fatigue, there's insomnia. There's just so many symptoms that it just isn't pain. And there are so many different types of pain. Oh, I love this one. Number 3 is you just need to have a positive mindset and stop worrying and stop focusing on the symptoms. I will say that there is one tiny little speck of truth in this. And that is that a positive attitude will generally make us feel not better, but it will just help us not feel worse, because one of a very common side effect of fibromyalgia is depression and anxiety. I will also say that generally in anything in your life, a positive attitude will probably make you see the problem as not as big or not as hard to solve, so it may be easier for you to handle any situation, any condition, if you have a more positive attitude. But positive attitudes don't cure illnesses, and positive attitudes don't cure symptoms. It does, obviously it helps. Our mental health directly has an impact on our central nervous system, and obviously it will make it function even worse. That's the only bit of truth in that myth. The thing I find really annoying about this one is how people say that to you when they have no experience of the condition, they have no experience of being in this situation. Imagine if you had to wear like a suit which was made out of weights, really heavy weights, every single day, and it was scratchy and really uncomfortable and hot, and like you could feel it against your skin, like really, and it hurt and it was very uncomfortable. And imagine you have to wear that suit every day, and you have to go to work, and you have to get on the train, and you have to commute, and you have to make dinner, and you have to go grocery shopping and hang out with your friends. You have to do all of the things in your life wearing this really uncomfortable, really hot, or really cold, scratchy, heavy suit. You can still go about your day, and you can try as hard as you can to ignore it or to not dwell on it too much, but you can feel it the whole time. Imagine that it's so heavy that you can't actually walk. If you can't walk because of this suit that you have to wear that is super uncomfortable and super heavy and super painful, and then people tell you, oh, don't worry about it, just pretend you're not wearing it, and you can't actually move your legs to walk to the toilet, tell me, how would that make you feel? Myth number 4 is that using a mobility aid will make you worse. Now, this one I've actually heard from the mouth of a doctor, and I can tell you that using a mobility aid has helped me get better rather than get worse. I have a lot of leg symptoms, and I have a lot of leg weakness, which means that sometimes I'll be walking and my legs give out. And that's very scary, and I don't want to fall on my face when I'm outside in the world. So when I know that I'm experiencing these symptoms, I will use my walking stick to still go and do the things that I want to do. Maybe go to a doctor's appointment, maybe go and see a movie, or go and do something that I want to do, because there is nothing worse for my mental health than having to stay home because I can't walk that well today, when I could go with just a mobility aid and still get that enrichment, still go and enjoy myself. And I often find that days when I go out with my mobility aid to do something that I really want to do are the most rewarding experiences, because I feel so proud of myself that I didn't let my illness get in the way of my life. Because I use it when I need it, I'm not overexerting my joints, I'm not overexerting my legs, and that means that I can get better faster, because if my joints are hurting and I keep using them and straining them, they are not gonna stop hurting. They're just gonna keep hurting. Number 5 is that it only affects middle-aged women. And this is wrong on 2 accounts. 1, that it only affects women, and 2, that it only affects middle-aged women. It is more common in women. Absolutely, men can also have fibromyalgia. There's a lot of them out there who do have it. And the fact that it only affects middle-aged women or people is also false, because there are people who are being diagnosed with fibromyalgia from children to really old age. Number 6 is that it is only caused by PTSD. Now, if you don't know, PTSD is a post-traumatic stress disorder. It is very common in soldiers, but it is not exclusive to that. A lot of people who have been through traumatic experiences, and it is common that people who have post-traumatic stress disorder, especially undiagnosed, can eventually develop fibromyalgia. Now, this does not mean that everybody with fibromyalgia also has to have post-traumatic stress disorder, and they are not mutually exclusive. You can have one without the other, and you can have both. Myth number 7 is that fibromyalgia is an autoimmune condition. An autoimmune condition is where, for some reason, your immune system attacks your body because it thinks that there's a threat. Diabetes is an autoimmune condition. Thyroid problems are often autoimmune. There is a lot of autoimmune conditions, but fibromyalgia is not one of them. First of all, nobody has been able to prove that, so there's that. Second of all, our immune systems are actually normally healthy. When healthy, or as healthy as they can be when you have a chronic illness with chronic pain and stuff. Myth number 8 is that fibromyalgia is a diagnosis given to you when doctors don't know what's actually wrong with you. So it's just like a sweep it under the rug kind of diagnosis. I will say that I'm sure there's a lot of people who are diagnosed with fibromyalgia who don't actually have it, but it is just diagnosed as that because they don't know what else it could be. Because the process for diagnosing fibromyalgia is kind of like, it's just exclude every other possibility. So it is common to be misdiagnosed. But that does not mean that fibromyalgia is not a real condition with real symptoms, and that a lot of us do have them. Myth number 9 is also a really good one, and it is that you just need to be more active. Now, this is another one where there is some truth to it, because a lot of studies have found that mild to medium intensity exercise, that can have an improvement on our health long term. It will not have an improvement on our health tomorrow or the week after. It will take a long time. I do think it does help, and I am a believer that exercise is important for us, but it will not fix everything. It might help with some pains, it might help a little bit with our energy levels, but it's not going to fix it. It's not going to be a cure. Myth number 10 is that we are just hypochondriacs. And now this one is the one that I actually find hilarious, because I can see how an ignorant person would think that, because obviously we have to see a lot of specialists. We tend to get sick more often, but we're not hypochondriacs actually. Some of us might be. I don't know. I don't know every single person who has fibromyalgia, so there might be some who are hypochondriacs, but I'm not. Myth number 11 is that fibromyalgia is just an inability to deal with pain. Now, I will say our body has a pretty stupid way of dealing with pain, and that it does amplify our pain, and that it just likes to throw pain in there whenever things are getting boring. But we don't have an inability to deal with pain. I think we actually are a lot stronger than people think, and we normally actually are very good with dealing with it because we are in pain all the time. Myth number 12 is the fibromyalgia diet. Now, I got sucked into this as well at the beginning of my diagnosis. I genuinely thought, okay, a diet can fix it, or a diet can help me. And yeah, it helped a little bit, but also it gave me a lot of food anxiety. It didn't really help with my IBS symptoms, and all it made me was just more intolerant to certain foods. There hasn't been any scientific explanation or any scientific proof that a certain diet will help with fibromyalgia. I think it's just one of those things. A certain diet might help you, even if you're a healthy person. A certain diet might help you feel more energetic, or better with yourself or whatever. But that's just the way your body works. Whew, that was long. Okay, I hope that this was just helpful, enjoyable, and yeah. And that you learned something new, hopefully. Don't forget to share this video with the people who you think should know a little bit more about fibromyalgia, and let's raise awareness together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like and a comment. Let me know if I forgot something, or if there's any myths that you have heard that you don't think are true. And if you have not already, you can also consider subscribing to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. And you can consider becoming a member on Patreon. It would help me keep raising awareness for fibromyalgia. That's everything that I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!